Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining B.J. Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Now, here's Jay Tust and B.J. Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
I saw Jay putting this hat on. I figured I should put the same hat on here. How's it going, Jay?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I don't have the, what do you call it? The all my microphone and all the nice high-tech stuff set up this morning. It's still in the package from last night, so we're going to just wing this thing on the fly here. But we got Jay Tust here. This is Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. It's Friday, and if only we had anything to talk about, Jay.
I know, right? No kidding. Are these a low profile, by the way?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I'll be putting in another order. I was disappointed in that, but I have the biggest head of anyone I know, and they don't exactly fit perfect.
I gotta say, it rides just a little bit higher than my liking.
It does.
It looks sweet. Don't get me wrong, but it just.
No, I am going to be reaching out to them. Actually, that was bad ball on my part because yes, I'm much more a fan of the low profile, but or the high profile with a big ass head that I have. But
yeah.
You don't have to hurt my feelings if you don't want to wear it. We'll get you in there. There you go. We can believe me, I would be wearing it more if it fit better. But yeah, we'll go backwards and we'll call it good for today. This is Bronco Nation News. Go ahead.
How's the East Coast, my man?
You know what? This is the first day that the sun has actually been out, and so when I finish this show, I may actually make my way down to the beach for a little bit. Now that I have till 9:30 p.m. Eastern time until the game tonight.
I'm looking forward to that. I got a state championship football game to cover tonight at 7:00. So,
well, there you go. Yeah, but I mean, I'm still not used to East Coast time. It's 11:03 here. Yeah, to now have to wait till the fourth game of the day at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. People thought the 8:15 football games were bad. To start a basketball game local time at 9:30 is ridiculous. 9:30. This game is starting here in Myrtle Beach. So yeah, it's going to be a long day, obviously, and a tough day probably for Boise State. I guess they get a couple extra hours to try to figure out what went wrong last night against Charlotte. Boise State falls 54-42. This is Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. As I said, my name is B.J. Rains. We got Jay Tust, Sports Director at KTVB. If you're just joining us, we appreciate it. We do this every weekday at 9 a.m. Here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, I guess, until Twitter goes down. But hopefully you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you. We've got different guests every day throughout the week, and Jay's with us on Tuesdays and Fridays. And we talk Boise State sports, so make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button on that YouTube channel. We'd love to have you. And someone is asking if I'm making it to Laramie tomorrow. No, the Reno basketball football trip was enough crazy travel for me. Colin Mitchell, our part-time employee, is en route to en route to Laramie today. So we will have. I think this is the first game maybe ever, Jay, that you and I are both missing. You guys are going to have Brady there from Channel 7 and the crew, and I'll have Colin there as well. So yeah, it was just a little too far. There is no basketball game tomorrow, but it was a little too far to go to Laramie and back for one day. So I could have gone to Laramie, I guess, and then stayed and just missed the Sunday game. But decided to hang out. So we'll be covering it, watching it, tweeting about it. Just won't actually be there. That'll be the third game, I think, in my 10 years covering the team that I've missed. And I know you haven't missed very many either, Jay. So, but just makes sense. So we'll be here at the basketball game in Myrtle Beach. They will take the day off tomorrow. We'll cover football, and then Sunday is the final game of the tournament, and then we'll you know what? I just thought of something. I'm gonna have to change my flight. I forgot about that. They're gonna play later on Sunday now. I when I booked my flight on Sunday, I was banking on them winning the first game. So now that they're gonna play Sunday night, I can't leave till Monday. So I got to get an extra night hotel. And yeah, that sucks. Okay. I just thought of that. I had a perfect travel schedule to come home Sunday night, but they had to win the first game, and they didn't win the first game. So now I have some work to do on delta.com here fairly soon. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Well, that sucks. I'll worry about that after the show. But I have to worry about that after the show because Boise State falls 54-42 against Charlotte. Boise State scores 11 points in the first half, the second lowest total in a half in Boise State basketball history. They scored 10 points in a half way back in 1980 against Fresno State. But 11 points. They go 4 of 24 from the field, 11 turnovers, only 1 assist. They did not score a point in the final 7:43 of the half. Jay, it was really, really ugly sitting courtside. What did it look like on TV?
The same. I mean, yeah, it wasn't good. It was seeing what happened last year. Basketball's a long season, so I'm not hitting the panic button or anything yet. But I think there are a couple of concerns that if they continue to prolong themselves, then you might be more inclined to hit the panic button. When we spoke with Leon a number of times leading up to the season, one thing he seemed to hammer home was the fact that this team moved the ball really, really well, right? And
he said it was a great shoot, one of the better shooting teams he's had too.
So you kind of, combine those two things and you evaluate how they've gone the first 3 games. They're averaging 9 assists as a team per game. If you're an elite ball movement team, that definitely seems low. They're turning the ball over they have more turnovers than assists right now. 36 turnovers through 3 games, 27 assists. So it's there's definitely some things that they can either improve or this defines them. And, over the next couple of games, I guess they're the ones that determine that. But I will say they really thought they were going to be a little bit more offensively gifted this year. And they haven't been. And they haven't shot the 3 well. Like I said, I feel like we were told ball movement, all that stuff was the strength of this team. And we haven't really seen that yet. Chibuzo Abo is supposed to be the leading scorer on this team. And, BJ, you and I were going back on a couple text messages last night and just kind of, talking about some of the concerns. And I know that this wasn't meant to be a joke. It was reality, but you texted me, he has more fouls than points right now. And again, that's not meant to be a joke. That's just the reality of it. And that's something, those are things that have to get better. Like, they need him to score. They need him to stay on the floor. Like, he stayed out of foul trouble for the most part last night, but I did kind of giggle, like 88 seconds into the game, he picks up his first foul. And it's just like, man, like, can this guy just get off to a better start? And like, I'm assuming that would help him so much mentally that if he could just kind of alleviate that at some point in time.
Yeah, I think it's up to he's close to passing it, but he's at 12 fouls and 11 points. He did have a couple.
But here's the deal, BJ. You max out at fouls, right? Like, you can't have 25 fouls through. I mean, he might if there was no limit, but you can't have 25 fouls through 3 games. You can only have a max of 15. So that's not good.
No, it's not good at all. And you could keep going down the line. There's some other concerning things, or things that I don't think are going to stay. And I'll say this: I don't think that Chibuzo Abo is going to end up having more foul. I mean, the guy obviously is going to. I mean, that's not possible. He's obviously going to pick it up a little bit, but you're waiting on it, and you're waiting on it, and you see signs, and he's just. They just have a lot of guys that are cold at the wrong. I mean, last night, people kept getting on me, and some of the trolls and guys on Twitter that love to take shots or whatever were saying, well, when the threes aren't falling, you got to drive to the basket and change it up. I mean, these were wide open threes by Tyson Degenhardt and guys who you feel, Max Rice, who you feel are good 3-point shooters. Like, they were passing up wide open shots at times. I mean, there were wide open looks and they just didn't fall. I mean, this team is shooting 22% from 3-point range through 3 games. More concerning is guys like Degenhart and Marcus Shaver, 2 guys you feel pretty confident when they let it fly. They're, I think, 3 of 22 from deep on the season, those 2 guys. So, I mean, and it's 3 games and it's, so I guess you're 1 and 2 and that's, what's concerning. But to me, like, it's just a cold stretch at the same time. All these guys are cold at the same time. Like, I don't expect this team to shoot 22% from 3, but I mean, right now it's costing you ball games.
Yeah. I would say another kind of concern at the moment too. I don't know if Tyson Degenhart's playing a lot of minutes right now. And I'm not saying he's not a guy that it's not like he can't handle it, but if you're playing Tyson Degenhart 37.5 minutes in the preseason, that you're just going to be asking a lot of him come conference play. Like it is what it is. And hey, he is a great basketball player. That's nothing on him, but that is pushing the pedal to the metal early on in the season. So
well, we did see Sada Nganga get 13 minutes. He played like the last 10 minutes of the game or something. They just said, you know what, we're down 20. Let's put him out there. And I thought Sada actually looked pretty good. Maybe that's a turning point for him. He had a nice basket to the hoop, and then he had 2 other times that he had a nice drive. One where he got called with an offensive foul somehow. But he had a couple rebounds. I thought he started to look a little more comfortable. I mean, you're going to need more guys than Tyson Degenhart and Marcus Shaver on this team. And right now you're just not getting that scoring. I mean, Najee Smith and Max Rice, I think in the first 2 games, average about 30 points a game combined. They had 8 points last night total, 4 and 4. I mean, that's not going to get it done. So
one thing I will say about Chibuzo too, and I just so that so the fans know this, and I think you would agree with me, we have not seen the guy that we saw in some close scrimmages or close practice sessions. Like that is, I was and still am pretty confident that he's going to be a good basketball player. Like, especially when the TBT guys came back, the alumni squad, when they were going at it, like
he was balling, man.
Uzo in that close scrimmage that maybe next year will be open to the public. I know that'll be another discussion another day, but that guy was giving it to the alumni squad, and he was stepping into threes with confidence. He looked like he wanted to be the freaking dude. And I don't know if we've just seen that assertiveness out of him yet on the floor. And I know that foul trouble's played into that, but I still remain confident that as long as he remains confident, he's going to be okay. And I can't wait to see the game that it finally clicks for him, because, again, when the lights haven't flickered on yet, or they're just a lot fewer of them than on game night, we've seen him play at a pretty high level in practice.
Kevin Foster says, I think people need to relax about the basketball team. It's a very long season. I will say, Jay, I will say this. I mean, obviously, every loss as a mid-major hurts your chances of, getting an at-large bid to the tournament. It's hard to win 14 in a row in conference. I mean, it's pretty much a miracle run for them last year to get to the 8th seed after starting 3 and 4. I mean, it is possible. We saw it last year. And obviously, wins the next 2 days. If you leave here 3 and 2 and beat Loyola and either Colorado or A&M, you're thinking all of a sudden this team's back on track. I mean, there's still a lot of time left, but you're also facing 2 teams that, you thought you might have to play on the winner's side of the bracket. And you're looking at 1 and 2, or maybe even 0 and 3 in this tournament. Unfortunately, like squaring right in the face. I mean, you're playing 2 teams that are ranked better than you, that are on paper better than you in the next 2 games. And so, it's the actual predicted thing right now would be for Boise State to go 0 and 3 in this tournament, come back home at 1 and 4. I mean, if that happens, you're going to have a lot of fans, going even crazier than they are now. And I get it. And maybe start thinking about that mentally, because that's what's supposed to happen. I mean, you're the underdog tonight against Loyola Chicago. I mean, the bracket fell the opposite way you would have wanted. I mean, the way you want in these tournaments to go is you want to go 2 and 1. So if they could have won last night, they'd have been the favorite probably left in the whole tournament on the winner's side. But instead, all 4 favorites lose. So not only do you lose, but the other 3 favorites lost. Now you have maybe the hardest losers bracket of all time in this tournament. And so, I mean, you've got Texas A&M, Colorado, and Loyola Chicago, 3 teams you thought would be on the winner's side, all in the losers bracket. So it does not get any easier. And I will say this, it only took me, it took me a little time this morning, Jay. I went through and I know Ken Pom early in the season does bring in last year's rankings, some last year's production. So it's not like a perfect example, but it is still what we have at this point. And Boise State is the only team in the top 120, I think it is, at Ken Pom that's where I got to where I ran out of time. But they're the only team in the top 120 that has already played at least 3 games, and they've all been against teams in the top 145. So just to put a little perspective on it, I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses. It is what it is, but they've certainly challenged themselves. Leon has said numerous times he'd rather challenge himself, even if that means losing a few games, but to find out like some of, go through the valley of death, as he said, and find some problems and need to correct them, then maybe play a lot of nobodies. You win by 15, you think's all good, and then you get into conference play or the tougher games, and you're not prepared for that. So if you're a Boise State fan, you have to hope that this is going to pay off down the road because they're now finding out problems with, that they have in these games. And yes, they're losing some of them. But again, top 119, I think it is at Ken Pom. They're the only team in the country that's played 3 games, and they've all been against top 145 teams.
When you look at kind of the way that he did schedule, he almost flipped the month of November on its head like how he normally would. Because when Boise State comes back home, they have Utah Valley and CSUN. Now, usually those might be the schools you open with and then you play the tougher competition. But he kind of flipped that this year. And so they'll play the tougher competition, and then maybe against those schools are the team that you start to build against and hopefully get some confidence against because they need that right now. They need that. They need an identity. After the switch last year when Devin Dutrieve left and Tyson Degenhart went in the starting lineup, everything just clicked, and the team found more than success. They found chemistry. They found unity. Like those guys, when they walked on the court, they were ready for anything that night, and so they really need that right now. And I was actually thinking about this today while I was at the store, BJ. I hope at times like this, like maybe there's a somebody out there that already has done this, but you do appreciate greatness when you had it. Guy like Abu Kijab, he was one of the best to ever do it at Boise State, and I hope like that a time like this is a time that people like recognize that, like, and that's just out of respect for him. Like that guy was freaking special, and I don't know if I've ever seen a guy play a game harder at Boise State than Chibuzo did in the than Freudian slip there, than Abu played in the NCAA tournament last year. I mean, that guy, there are times, BJ, where our courtside seats are cooler than maybe some think. And I just remember seeing the pure exhaustion on Abu's face, and that dude would peel himself off the chair and he would just go attack it again, trying to lead that comeback against Memphis. That guy played extremely hard and he was extremely good. And I think we're seeing his presence right now, his character, all that is missed, but somebody has to step into that role.
Hey, the Blue and Orange Store. Check them out, theblueandorangestore.com. You can get free shipping on any order over $40. And if you're in the Boise area, you can go to the Boise Town Square Mall, second floor there next to Pro Image. Check them out, the Blue and Orange Store and theblueandorangestore.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. 13 Idaho locations. Find the one near you at shopridleys.com. They got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff. Check them out, Ridley's Family Markets. United Commercial Insurance, they can make business insurance easy. Quick call 229-8222 or UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. They can write business policies, insurance in 44 states around the country. So if you own a business, help out a local company in the Treasure Valley and get your business insurance through United Commercial Insurance. If you're looking for a dentist, how about BoiseDentistryCo.com? Dr. Chris Minor and his staff, I highly recommend them. My kids love going there. I enjoy going there. They got locations in Mountain Home, Caldwell, and everywhere in between. Just went to the new Eagle Road location the other day. So check them out if you're looking for a new family dentist, BoiseDentistryCo.com. And if you're looking for a new job, how about TCS, Transportation Compliance Service, TransCompService.com. If you want to get into the trucking industry, it's a booming industry right now. And I'm talking the big rig on the screen or even the little Amazon truck you see in your neighborhood. If you want to get into the trucking industry, they can get your permits and all the things you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. Check them out, transcompservice.com. I do want to play just the opening statement from Leon Rice on our post-game show last night, Jay. Leon Rice, nice enough. I come 2,500 miles. I put in a lot of money, time, effort to be here, and he agrees to do a post-game interview, and then they score 11 points in the first half, and they lose to Charlotte. So as you know, when you have to do these kind of post-game interviews sometimes, not the ideal time to have to talk to the head coach, but he agreed to before the game and stuck with it and came over and sat down with me on the Lift the Afford of Boise post-game show. So hope folks checked that out last night on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. But here was the opening question, Coach Rice, after the loss last night.
I'm sure the last thing you want to do is have to talk about this game, but just overall, obviously a tough one here in the opening round.
Yeah, I mean, just – I just talked about how we let our missed shots really affect everything else we did. It got us a little too desperate. We turned the ball over, and then we just got out of our defense and let them have layups. I mean, you hold a team to 54, you can win that game. But that was the most pathetic offensive display in the first half that I've had. And I saw the frustration in those guys is how it affected their play. And I think that's, I think we came out in second half with some energy and enthusiasm and shuffled the deck a little bit. And we're going to find the right guys and the right combinations. But, tonight maybe helped us do that.
I know you know the numbers, but 4 of 24, 11 turnovers in the first half, 1 assist. I mean, once the shots weren't falling, were the turnovers falling when you were trying to force things? Or
absolutely. And then we were just kind of square peg round hole instead of making the easy plays. And, I almost saw like a desperation in the first half. You never want to play that way because, in college basketball, there's so many different styles you have to play against. Well, this was the kind of the frustrating Air Force style. And Charlotte wanted this game low scoring. We wanted it to be up and down a little bit more. And when it didn't go immediately our way, we had no resolve. And that's what I'm disappointed in. And, the young guys haven't been exposed to it yet. They're just trying to figure it out. But we have enough veterans that, that I didn't think they handled it that very good.
Well, there's Leon Rice after the game. The full 6-minute interview or so is available up on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go hear the rest of Coach Rice after the game, that's up on our YouTube channel. And hope to get a couple of minutes with Coach Rice today here at the hotel. We'll have that on the pregame show, hopefully. RJ Keene, by the way, as well. And that's another thing that may change now that they lost yesterday. But RJ Keene out this year with an injury. They agreed to let him sit in on the pregame show today. So we'll see if he can sit down and hang out a little bit. But they're going to play at 9:30 tonight. We'll have the be 7:30 back in Boise, 7:30 Mountain Time. We'll have the pregame show about 6:30. Abe Jackson will join me, and then scheduled to have RJ Keene as well about 6:30 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and we'll get you set, and then we'll have the postgame show after the game as well. And Jay, as we said, it doesn't get any easier here, man. You're playing a Loyola Chicago team that got upset in the tournament, and this is going to be another big one tonight, and maybe this is the game that Abo gets going. And we had somebody saying that I can't find the comment right here, but they think that maybe for tonight at least you should start Najee Smith and bring Abo off the bench as the sixth man. Again, Najee only had 4 points last night himself. It wasn't like but he had played pretty well in the first 2 games. What do you make of tonight?
Najee's experience at this level, his experience in his role. I don't know if you necessarily see that tonight, but like if you do, I wouldn't necessarily be against it. They also love to put Naj at that 5, like bring him off the bench. And I know he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife with where they can play him, throughout the lineup. So,
and that's another problem right now. They're not getting a ton from that 5 position. You had a couple stretches where in the Washington State game, you had a couple stretches where you saw some nice things from Lucas Milner. But I think both those guys went scoreless again last night, if I'm not mistaken. Lucas Milner did not score, and Lucas Milner only played 4 minutes. Wow, I didn't realize it was that low.
I don't know if that's right. I feel like I saw that he played a little bit more than that. There was like a stat glitch, I swear.
Oh, this is the second half box score. My bad. Second half he played 4 minutes. Yeah, but he played 13 minutes for the game, and then you had Mo Silla play 4 minutes. So in 17 minutes, not only did they not score, they didn't even take a shot in the 17 minutes with those two. So they have to find a way to get some more time. But yeah, I wonder if, someone's saying it's Sada time. He looks like the truth. Let him develop, win or lose. Have you reached that point? I remember one point, Jay, with Chandler Hutchison, where he wasn't playing a ton and he was kind of mad about it. And then I remember they just started him one game and he just all of a sudden started playing 30 minutes a game and eventually worked. I don't know if we're quite there yet with Sada, but you do wonder if they're going to start putting him in a little more because at this point, why not?
Yeah. I think one thing that stands out to me about Milner and Mo as well, you mentioned they play, 17 combined minutes. That's nearly 14 feet of human combined. And they also had one combined rebound. I mean, that's something like an area last year with Mladen Armush. Like I said, he would wake up in the morning and essentially probably say to himself, I don't know if he literally did this or not, but he'd be like, I'm going to go crush the glass today. I'm going to get 10 overall and probably 3 or 4 on the offensive end and help this team. And we haven't necessarily seen that determination or tenacity on the rebound on the boards yet. And I kind of mentioned that yesterday too. Like Boise State, they got beat pretty bad on the glass against Washington State, and they still won. It's not often that happens in the Leon Rice era. It's not often it happens they lose the battle on the glass. They're really good there. So we'll have to see how they can bounce back today and start to move this thing forward. So I think that Leon Rice knows like what's wrong with his team. Like he knows. It's about finding these lineups that work together. I think the thing that stuck out to me too is when he said that we let our offensive success or failure or whatever affect the whole game. That is something that happened early in the season last year with this team. And then all of a sudden, that was like their defining quality is that they didn't let what happened on the offensive end affect their ability to go get stops on the defensive end. If anything, it almost felt like they used it as fuel for their fire at times. Like, all right, if we can't score, more than 50, we're going to hold you to 49 or less. Like they kind of took it as a challenge, almost a badge of honor to play that good of defense at times. And so that's something that he's going to have to instill in this team. And I bring it back to like a guy like Mladen Armush. He was a very selfless guy that he knew his role on the team and he dominated his role on the team. And it's about getting guys to invest in dominating their roles on the team. And I also think it's about getting to the point where you're not asking other guys like Max Rice to go score 21 for you so that you can, be in a game. Not saying Max can't do it because he has, but I think that asking him to do something like that night in and night out is going to be a lot.
No doubt. Kevin Foster says defense is a good sign. You score 11 points and a half. You might lose a lot of those games by 20 plus. It's Keaton says Mo Silla looks a step slow out there right now. Yeah, that was one that I saw right before halftime. You gave up that layup with like 2 minutes left. And that was kind of a big stretch. You were down like 13, I think it was, and you gave up a bucket with 33 seconds left. You turned it over or missed a shot, and then you gave up a layup at the buzzer. And all of a sudden you go from down 13 to down 17 at the half. And Leon was laying into Mo Silla as they were walking off the court. He was not happy about that.
When you score 11 points and a half, like 4 points that's a lot of points.
Almost half that you scored, yeah. And they looked a lot better in the second half. I know they're going to try to use – they outscored them by 5, I think, in the second half. If you're a coach, you are looking for some, positive momentum, I guess. But that's 3 games in a row, Jay, where they have had slow starts. They were 0 for 8, I think, in each of the first 2 games from the field. They have had rough starts.
BJ, I keep I don't like stat broadcasts. I keep refreshing the whole page after like 4 minutes in the game. So I'm like, okay, it still says 0. It says 2. Like, just to make sure it's working right. Just because they have gotten off some slow starts. Which means today they're going to come out. They're going to score 12 points in the first 3.5 minutes and force Loyola to take a quick timeout.
That'd be great. Yeah, it's coming at some point, right? They're not this kind of offensive team, and I guess that's why some people are ready to move on to next year and give up on the season and say they're going to have to win the Mountain West tournament, whatever. Maybe I'm just the ultimate optimist here at Bronco Nation News, but I just think 3 games is way too early. I've seen some signs, and I also look at track records and what guys should do, and guys are a lot better than they're playing right now. So I don't think we're going to have.
I'll set the benchmark at 7 games where you either panic or don't, because after 7 games last year, everybody was panicking, and then it ended up being the best. It ended up being the best season in school history, and so I don't know how many people would have predicted that after 7 games last year.
And again, they very easily in like 48 hours or whatever could be 1-4. It's very. Again,
with 2 very winnable games back in Boise, which puts them at 3-4.
There you go.
Same spot as last year.
They've got A&M still, St. Louis still. There are a lot of tough games. This is a really tough stretch right now. And again, they could be teams that are playing all 300-plus teams. He wanted to toughen the schedule, find some things out. And Leon's goal has always been Mountain West play. But, okay, that's great. But you're all of a sudden putting a lot of your eggs in your basket that you're going to have to win the Mountain West now and probably win the tournament to get in. So it's going to be a tough stretch.
they certainly didn't do it themselves any favors. And again, 6:30 tonight Mountain Time. We'll be on with the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show around 6:30. Make sure you're following us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, and then we'll be back after the game as well. Before we get out of here, real quick, Jay, one football thought. What's your take on the game tomorrow? I did see somebody say, James says, in better news, weather in Laramie looks like 23 and clear at kickoff. 17 by the end of the game, light winds. So as of now, no snow. Yeah, huh?
The biggest thing, we want light winds, whether it snows, rains, anything. Laramie, that wind can pick up and really alter what you do offensively. With the way Boise State's running the ball right now, heck, it might not be a bad thing, but light winds is probably the most important thing out of that forecast. So I don't think temperature is going to be too much of a concern for them, and they'll find a way to stay warm enough to go out and execute. I think that last week's game in Nevada was a great tune-up for this thing. I do think that there's something about going to Laramie in mid-November, especially when, the Cowboys have exceeded expectations. I mean, this is just kind of a game where they walk into this thing probably believing that they got a chance against Boise State, and they're playing for a ton. Like, they are playing for a ton. Like, you feel okay if Boise State were to slip up. If they were, Boise State comes back and beats Utah State. Wyoming goes on the road. Jay Kaner and Fresno take down the Cowboys in the final week of the regular season. That's another path for Boise State to get into the Mountain West Conference Championship game. If the Broncos win this weekend, as we all know, they control their destiny because they lock up a spot. But this does have the feeling of a game where the Cowboys are going to come charged and ready and believe they got a shot in this thing. They got a great running back in Titus Swin that if even anything at all is out of place, he has the ability to cut back and house one from 70. So they'll have to be disciplined. They'll have to be on their A game. Fortunately, BJ, this defense has been unbelievable against Mountain West teams this year. Say what you will about their level of competition, but they're only allowing 193 total yards of offense in Mountain West games this year. That is insanely low. I don't, you can throw at me like, yeah, Mountain West is bad. Fine, do it. I don't care if you're playing a team with me and BJ on the offensive line. Like, 193 yards per game allowed is crazy low against conference opponents.
By the way, there were a couple of Battlehawks players taken, a couple guys taken in the XFL draft, but which I do want to ask you about. But Brian Hill, remember him, the old Wyoming running back? Brian Hill, he get drafted by my Battlehawks. That's our running back.
There you go.
So,
he's good. Brian was good.
We had a couple guys go the first day, and then I think I saw Sean Modster got picked up too, right?
Yeah. Yep. I think he's going to the same spot as
Arlington Renegades, I believe it is, for Modster.
Yeah, and that's where Stets is going too. So
Jake Stets and Curtis Weaver, right?
Going up to Seattle. What up?
There you go.
Yeah. So he's going to be a seat dragon.
We might get some XFL highlights on KTVB News in February and March. But
I'm down.
So, yeah, congratulations to those guys. I did reach out to Tyler Rassa. He had a 2-year contract with the USFL, so he could go to the NFL if he gets a call, but I don't think he technically could go to the XFL. So that's why you didn't see Tyler Rassa go back in. He took the guaranteed 2-year contract with the USFL last year instead of going back to the XFL where he was originally. So, yeah, that's why if somebody had asked me, you didn't see Tyler Rassa in there. But Kate Foster says, shouldn't be hard to get up for this one, man. Champion spot for a championship game on the line.
It is.
If Fresno State then were to win the game after Boise State, you would have basically, Jay, 2 weeks where it's Fresno State and Boise State. And they could sell some, early head start on the tickets for that. And you could kind of plan for that. And maybe, not very often that both teams in the location 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah, that would be can they actually sell tickets earlier than the week? Okay, so they can. Okay.
My understanding is they could go on sale as early as right when the game ends. They may wait till Sunday so they can market the opponent. But yes, they will start selling the tickets. At least given the season ticket holders time to renew their exact seats and stuff like that would start that first week, and they would have the whole extra week and a half or whatever it is to try to push tickets.
I'm assuming that Jeremiah Dickey and the crew over at Boise State would absolutely freaking love that. I assume that you could market it, but I didn't know how quickly they could actually get tickets on sale. They would probably love that.
So as soon as the game ends, they're eligible. If they know they're in the game, they can start selling right away.
And just to reiterate, as you were just saying right there, BJ, stadium is empty when they start this thing. Their season tickets and none of that stuff count for the Mountain West Conference Championship game. So, 36,000 is probably almost unrealistic to think they can get there, but also you hear the belief in that administration over at Boise State that will probably be the expectation for them to get to that mark.
Well, we appreciate everyone for commenting today. If I didn't get your comment on the screen, I apologize. We had good commenting today. It's weird, people after a loss sometimes you end up getting more fired up people than after a win, Jay. But people are excited for the football game. What is the George Helani streak on 100 yards?
They are 12-0 when Helani goes over 100.
And so, I think that, 12-0 in his career, and that'd be nice in a game like this to get him over there as well. And but sorry couldn't get all your comments in. Keep them coming. We appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for checking us out and watching. Big time announcement coming in the near future for Bronco Nation News for our 1 year anniversary here coming up in a couple of weeks as we hit 1 year on November 30th. Hard to believe, but November 30th is going to be our 1 year anniversary, and we have a big time announcement on a cool contest that we're doing coming up here in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. But go watch KTVB, watch their newscast. They'll have there's another high school state title tonight.
Yeah, Meridian's going for their first state championship since 2007, taking on Rigby, and Meridian's got some dudes over there. Not a lot of them have gotten big time offers yet. They got Ethan Beard going to the University of Idaho. I know that. I believe they got a couple kids that Boise State might be looking at as a potentially preferred walk-on at this point. They got a big linebacker named Nathan Reynolds, who's an absolute warrior.
And that's on the blue, right?
For the Warriors. Yeah, it is. It's on the blue. Not often. I'm trying to think of the last time they've done a Friday night state championship 5A game on the blue on a Friday. Because usually that they save those for like a Saturday afternoon kickoff, but they're rolling tonight, and Meridian's going to get after and try to get this thing done. I hope they do. They deserve it. That group has come a long way in the last 3 or 4 years. They used to not be very good, and now they're one of the best in the state.
Good luck to them. And again, you guys will be out there with full coverage of that on KTVB tonight. You guys will have your pregame show tomorrow. What are the plans for that? 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, 4 to 5 o'clock. We'll still have live presence in Laramie, and it should be a loaded, fun show.
5, so that's 6 to 7 Eastern. I'm trying to remember because we'll probably be on 3:30 to 4 again. We like kind of leading in. We help get the viewership up.
Yeah,
you guys can't do it on your own. You need our massive social media presence to get things going for you. So
you'll take what you can get.
We'll reluctantly do it again to help out KTVB, I guess. We'll go 3:30 to 4. You guys will take over at 4 and from 4 to 5. And so make sure you're following all the social media channels tomorrow. That airs on you guys' YouTube or online as well, right?
YouTube, online, KTVB Plus. There's like a million platforms.
So for folks that aren't in the area
Channel 7.
Yeah, well, a lot of people that watch this at least aren't in Boise, so they can follow it other ways as well as you can.
Hit up KTVB.com. You'll be able to find it super easy.
And then, again, one more plug tonight, about 6:30, we'll have the pregame show. Should be plenty to talk about. We'll see if there's any changes to the starting lineup or anything. And then Boise State, Loyola Chicago coming up at 7:30 Mountain Time. And then after the game, we'll be back for a postgame show, exclusive interviews with Coach Rice and some players as well. So have a great Friday. I might actually sneak out and head to the beach for a little bit. Jay, enjoy your day as well. And we will talk to you guys 6:30 tonight on the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter channels, Bronco Nation News for the pregame show. Have a great day. This has been Bronco Nation News Live presented by rowpaint.com. Have a great day, folks. Talk to you later.